So far we've been using Playmaker to create interactions for the object that the Playmaker component is attached to, right? So we use the Playmaker on the player bar to control the player bar. We use the component, the Playmaker on the ball to control everything that's related to it, and same thing with all the bars. Now you can also use Playmaker actions to manipulate other objects that's not directly attached to the state machine is not directly attached to. So what I want to do now is we have this little effect that we've just created. It's cool, and I want to shake the camera a little bit when we hit something. When the ball hits something, I want to shake the camera. So go to Action Browser, and we're going to find a shake event. Now, this is a good time to talk about iTween a little bit. Where did it go? Oh. You can find this category called iTween, and these are really nice animation that you can use in terms of, when I say animation, I mean ways for the object to move, to rotate, to scale, and there are lots of options you can use in these actions. It's a really cool tool, a little bit more complicated if you're not familiar with it, but you can always click on the help button, and I think I don't have internet connection all of a sudden, but then you can find out more about iTweens. But for now we're just going to use the shake action, right? So we're going to find the iTween shake position and drag it into the state again. And the game object, instead of using player owner, or instead of use owner, let's specify game object, right? And then let's drag the main camera here. So we're using a main camera vector. We're just going to define the shaking, which sort of which direction we want it to shake. Let's just do X and Y. I think that would be quite good already. How long do you want it to shake? Maybe 0.3 seconds. And let's see how that looks. Right, I don't think we need to touch anything else, but I might be wrong, so let's give it a test. Right, so the camera is not shaking. Let's see what's wrong here. Okay, let me double check. Go to the ball. Shake position. Okay, interesting. If we just put a big number there, what would that do? I think the problem was we don't want to we don't want it to stop on exit. What that means is it will stop whatever this is doing when you move to the next state, when you leave the state, and this state doesn't actually take very long to finish. Everything will probably finish in a frame or two. So I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to just use 10. Okay, see if that fixes it. See if that fixes it. Alright, here we go. We have a bit of camera movement here. Probably too much shaking. So I'm just going to change that back to 1 and 0.3. Now, so again, the problem was because we had this stop on exit checked. If you have this checked, then as soon as you leave the state, it's going to stop this iTween animation. Right. So okay, so let's try this setting. A bit dramatic, but it's kind of got a nice little effect for us. It might get annoying when it's when the ball was hitting everything all of a sudden. So, but you get the idea. Very cool. One more thing, Playmaker GUI. I'm gonna enable. I'm gonna say draw. Stop that. Draw active label, because when I don't have that, then in the game view you won't have the those tags that's showing the. You won't have the text that's showing the state. And you can see that, funny enough, the ball sort of went through the wall. So you can so there is a bug somewhere here. If we're not careful, the ball could go through in between these two things. So we can quickly fix that by let's not worry about that for now. I think we there are other ways. There are various ways we can fix it. But for now, we have the basic game structure created. We have the prototype fairly done, and we have some sound effects, some visual effects, and as always, some bugs in the game. And fixing bugs is always a long process. So let's give that a try again. Actually, I think we've played the game enough, so you don't need to see it running again. One last thing I want to mention before I wrap up for this week is the idea of a 3D game versus a 2D game, right? So in this scene, you can see that things that are further away are smaller, right? So let's say this wall, it's the same length on this side and on the other side, but in the scene, in the game, you can see that it's it's smaller towards the end because you have the perspective view on the camera. If you want this to look more 2D than 3D, then you can simply change the projection on the camera from perspective to orthographic, right? Now you have to make some changes when you switch between the two. So we're going to change the size to something a lot smaller, something like that maybe. We're going to do 23. Now this is a flat view. We've flattened the camera view. So when you play it, it looks a lot more 2D than 3D now, right? We don't have the depth that we had from before when we had the perspective view. If I run this, all of a sudden this is very much a 2D game, right? Everything is just flat, which is cool, which is very cool. A lot of times you just want to have a 2D sort of layout, 2D visual, and I think this will work really well. So basically, whenever you want a 2D game, you change this to orthographic, and the game would all of a sudden look flat. Now, of course, you're gonna have to deal with animations differently, and certain other things that you have to take into consideration. But that's always the first step, is by manipulating this option here on the camera. So I'm going to change it back to perspective. I quite like what we had going before. So there you have it. That's week 3. We've created Breakout, and I'll leave you to create this. You can add all sorts of effects, add interactions, and just go crazy with it. And let's see what you can come up with. So have fun, and office hour is on Monday the 4th, I believe, in the afternoon. So if you don't have time or if you missed it, we are going to record it anyway, so you'll have that video as well. So great, then I will talk to you guys later.